Hi guys, welcome to the Baby Sleep Magic podcast. My name is Chantel, and in today's episode I'm going to be talking a little bit about how to manage life, your child, in times of sickness, teething, regressions, and probably some expectations around these moments. I often get loads of DMs, messages, emails, people reaching out on what to do in times of, sickness, teething, and regression. So, first of all, what I wanted to touch on and reassure everyone is the first 24 months of your child's life is constant progression. They learn and develop so much in those first couple of years, and they go through loads from teething, sickness, regressions, leaps, developmental milestones, you name it, they are experiencing it. And their sleep is bound to take a hit in those times. And that's expected and that's normal. But what you don't want to do is have that as an excuse, I suppose, to some degree, to go off track with your sleeping. Their sleeping is going to go off track, in those times regardless. But what you don't want to do is stay off track. And what this podcast is about is to give you some pointers, some tips on what to do in these moments, on how to move forward and how to avoid staying in situations that you don't want to be in. So look, my biggest tip here is in these moments, to offer as much comfort as you need to, but, this is my big but, as less as possible. And what that does is try to avoid getting yourself into a situation where they become reliant on either getting picked up or rocked or fed or going really backwards. Of course, you're going to need to offer comfort when they're not well or when they're going through some type of something. You're going to need to offer comfort. And you've got to remember, our children are humans just like we are. We as adults have bad days and we don't even know why. Some nights we just go to sleep at night and we just toss and turn and we just don't get a very good night's sleep. Babies are exactly the same. They sometimes will have a rough night. They will also sometimes have a bad day. And that's just human. That's just especially because they're in this stage of their life as well, where there is so much happening, brain development happening in their life. So like I said, their sleep is bound to take a hit. So what we've got to do is offer and do what you've got to do to get over the line, but without getting into really bad habits along the way. So as an example, in the event that your child is sick or just not, or whatever, out of whack, go into their room. Move your sleep space into their sleep space. So therefore, you're not taking them into your bedroom or into a different environment. They're staying in their room. And you can certainly offer comfort with them in their room. And that might mean you might need to camp out with them for a few nights while they're going through this bit of a rough trot. You might have to take a single mattress or a blow-up bed and camp out in their room for a couple of nights, but at least they're still in their safe sleep space, and they haven't gotten into any habits of coming into your bed, or their expectations around sleep haven't changed in any way. And obviously, if you need to offer some extra support, you can certainly go to them and be closer. You can, touch them, rub them, pat them, hold their hand. But again, this is my big but, offer all that until they are calm, not asleep. This is the other thing, because if you get into a habit of touching them or rubbing them every single time that they either wake up or they go through a bit of a moment, they're going to start to begin to expect that every single time. And that includes even times when they're feeling fantastic. So you just want to give them plenty of time to practice their new skill, whether it's rolling, whether it's walking, whether it's babbling, talking, clapping, but offer, support if and when you need to. If you need to, like I said, they really require you to be there. Instead of holding them and touching them till they're asleep, do it till they're calm and then hover over them, shushing them from a distance. Or if you really need to be super close, pat the mattress and not pat them, because that's, again, another association that's so much easier to break if you're not touching or patting them. And at the end of the day, just remain calm and patient, because babies feed off our energy. And, and no matter how bad things get, just remember, at the end of the day, everything is fixable. Inside the Baby Sleep Magic app is everything you need to know for whether it's getting back on track or setting up healthy sleep habits to begin with, or implementing some type of sleep training. Everything you need to know is inside the Baby Sleep Magic app. But at the end of the day, just be mindful that it's very normal, it's very expected, it's very natural for your baby's sleep to go off track in the first 2 to 2.5 years of their life. And that's probably the main point I wanted to put across. They will go through ups, downs, good, bad, and in some cases they might not be going through anything. There might not be any reason for them to be having a bad day but the fact the sky is blue. And that is, again, another typical example of them being a little human just like we are. So just remain not firm but consistent with your approach, I suppose is the best word. And consistency at the end of the day is key. Be mindful of their wake window, making sure they don't get overtired. Having a routine in place definitely helps with the consistency, but also not to go completely backwards if you can avoid it in times of, these moments. Also touching on the sickness side of things. If you have a sick bubba, and I'm talking sick, God forbid, in hospital, has an infection, on antibiotics, something super duper extreme, then you've got to do what you've got to do to get through. If that means your baby or toddler is sleeping on you or safely co-sleeping in those moments, then you know what? That's life, that happens, and that's okay. You just got to do it and get through. But if it's a runny nose or having a bit of teething discomfort or going through a bit of a leap or regression or some type of developmental stage, then that's part of their life. They're going to go through that for the next couple of years. It's just about trying to manage it the best way you can. And like I said earlier, offering as much comfort as you need to, but as less as possible. So I hope that gives you a bit of an overview and it gives you some tips on what to do and how to move forward in these tricky times. Thanks again for listening and stay tuned for next week's episode.